The hero dies in the very first episode. He comes back wrong, and nobody in Spectrum trusts him again. Jerry Anderson built his most advanced puppets yet, then made them almost impossible to move. A war with an invisible enemy from Mars turns a children's puppet show into something shockingly violent. With entire episodes built around mass casualties, it only exists because Thunderbirds couldn't crack America. Today, 20 facts about the darkest thing Super Marionation ever produced: Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. 20. It only exists because Thunderbirds flopped in America. Failure created opportunity here. Lou Grade tried hard to sell Thunderbirds to American television networks throughout 1966, without success. Rather than commission more international rescue adventures, he pushed Jerry Anderson towards something completely new instead. That decision seemed risky at the time, arguably reckless, given Thunderbird's existing popularity elsewhere, but it forced Anderson's team to innovate, rather than simply repeat proven formulas. The resulting gamble ultimately cemented Anderson's reputation as a producer willing to reinvent his own successful format entirely from scratch. 19. A routine Mars mission ignites an interplanetary war. Nothing about the setup seemed dangerous initially. In 2068, humanity's Zero-X mission successfully lands on Mars, discovering strange signals monitored back on Earth. A three-man crew explores the surface, stumbling onto a mysterious complex belonging to unseen Martian beings. Believing they've found friendly company, the Mysterons prepare to welcome their human visitors peacefully. Instead, a tragic misunderstanding sparks violent confrontation almost immediately. That single first contact error launches Earth into a prolonged, invisible war of nerves against enemies nobody can ever actually see or predict. 18. The hero isn't even human anymore. Captain Scarlet's backstory is genuinely unsettling. Captain Black, a Spectrum officer, gets possessed and killed during that initial Martian confrontation gone wrong. The Mysterons later target Captain Scarlet himself, killing him too, before reconstructing him as their own controlled agent. Something goes differently this time, though. Scarlet's reconstruction breaks free of Mysteron control entirely. He returns to Spectrum as an ally, technically indestructible, but permanently changed. The show's hero, in other words, is a resurrected alien copy of a dead man. 17. Landing the lead required a very specific impression. Casting proved surprisingly demanding here. Francis Matthews earned the role of Captain Scarlet largely through his uncanny ability to imitate Cary Grant's voice and mannerisms convincingly. Jerry Anderson reportedly pursued him aggressively, describing his effort as nearly moving heaven and earth to secure Matthews specifically. Before this role, Matthews had remained either uninterested or simply unavailable for previous opportunities. During recording sessions, Anderson even arranged scheduling flexibility so Matthews could simultaneously appear on stage in Noel Coward's private lives without conflict. 16. One actor voiced two enemies simultaneously. Doubling up roles created interesting technical challenges. Donald Gray provided voices for both Colonel White, Spectrum's commander, and the villainous Mysteron-possessed Captain Black. For White's dialogue, Gray recorded lines normally, using standard studio technique throughout every session. Achieving the Mysteron's eerie, otherworldly quality for Captain Black required different recording approaches entirely, separating the two vocal performances distinctly. That single actor essentially argued against himself across numerous episodes, embodying both humanity's calm leadership and its most menacing Martian-controlled adversary simultaneously throughout the entire run. 15. Nearly every agent got a color-based codename. Naming conventions became a defining visual shorthand quickly. Spectrum agents throughout the organization received codenames tied directly to colors, following Captain Scarlet's own naming pattern precisely. That stylistic choice gave the organization instant visual identity, distinguishing agents at a glance, regardless of individual backstory or rank. Years before color-coded team tropes became common shorthand across action and superhero media, Captain Scarlet had already built its entire command structure around exactly that naming principle, influencing genre conventions many viewers wouldn't recognize as originating here. 14. It was shockingly violent for a children's puppet show. Content pushed boundaries considerably further than expected. One episode, Avalanche, features a Mysteron agent casually asphyxiating 300 people without hesitation. Another, Attack on Cloud Base, kills off the entire main cast, including Captain Scarlet himself, before revealing the whole sequence was merely a dream. That level of on-screen carnage felt genuinely startling, packaged inside a puppet show ostensibly aimed at children. Combined with spaceships, fighter jets, and constant explosive action, the series carried a body count rivaling contemporary spy thrillers. 13. The puppets themselves got a complete technical overhaul. Engineering breakthroughs reshaped the entire visual approach. Previous supermarionation puppets carried oversized heads, needed to house the solenoid mechanisms controlling lip synchronization during dialogue scenes. For Captain Scarlet, engineers relocated those solenoids into the puppets' chests instead, finally allowing properly scaled heads. This redesign let puppets achieve accurate one-third human proportions for the very first time. The visual difference proved striking, making certain shots genuinely difficult to distinguish from actual live-action footage at first glance during production. 12. Fixing one flaw created another. Every solution introduced fresh complications here. Smaller, lighter solenoids solved the proportion problem, but simultaneously reduced overall puppet weight and stability on their control strings. Puppeteers found the redesigned marionettes considerably harder to control precisely, since even minor movements now looked exaggerated and unnatural on camera. The production team's workaround involved keeping puppets almost entirely motionless during scenes, deliberately avoiding walking shots wherever creatively possible. That constraint shaped the show's noticeably stiffer, more restrained physical performance style throughout its run. 11. It quietly dropped Thunderbird's hour-long experiment. Format decisions reversed course here. Thunderbirds had broken from typical supermarionation convention, running hour-long episodes unlike Anderson's earlier action-adventure programs. Captain Scarlet abandoned that experiment entirely, returning to a leaner 25-minute episode format instead. That length matched most other supermarionation productions, both preceding and following it, including later shows Joe 90 and The Secret Service. The shift suggested producers found the extended runtime less essential for maintaining audience engagement across this particular science fiction premise and pacing style. 10. It ended up broadcasting in over 40 countries. International reach extended well beyond Britain's ITV network. Following its original 1967 premiere on ATV Midlands, Captain Scarlet eventually aired across more than 40 countries worldwide, including the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. That kind of global distribution was genuinely impressive for a British puppet series produced on a comparatively modest television budget. The show's futuristic premise and striking visual effects apparently translated effectively across dramatically different television markets and viewing cultures throughout the late 1960s. 9. Production carried a hefty budget for the era. Money mattered considerably for achieving those visual ambitions. Captain Scarlet's production budget reportedly reached £1.5 million across its single 32-episode season, a substantial sum for British television during the late 1960s. That investment funded the show's elaborate scale model special effects, detailed miniature sets, and technically refined puppet redesigns. Century 21. Television productions clearly prioritized visual spectacle, betting that audiences would respond to genuinely impressive model work rather than settling for cheaper, less ambitious production values throughout the run. 8. Its closing theme had a strange coincidental tie-in. Musical credits carried an unexpected coincidence here. Later episodes featured a version of the closing theme performed by a musical group called The Spectrum, sharing its name directly with the show's fictional defense organization. That naming overlap wasn't intentional promotional synergy, though. The band's formation actually predated the television series production entirely. Composer Barry Gray also provided an alternate instrumental closing theme used across earlier episodes, giving the show two genuinely distinct versions of its ending music. 7. A tie-in comic launched the same day. Cross-media promotion began immediately alongside broadcast. TV Century 21 magazine launched its Captain Scarlet comic strip, specifically timed to coincide with the television series' premiere broadcast. That simultaneous rollout let readers follow adventures across two different formats at once, reinforcing the show's world through print storytelling. The comic continued running until TV Century 21 eventually merged with another publication in 1969. This kind of coordinated multimedia launch was a relatively sophisticated marketing strategy for late 1960s children's entertainment franchises. 6. Critics later read Cold War subtext into the premise. Interpretation evolved considerably over subsequent decades. Later critics and historians began reading the entire Mysteron conflict as an allegory for Cold War tensions dominating global politics during the show's original production. The formless, ideologically hostile Mysterons, constantly threatening covert infiltration and destruction, echoed contemporary anxieties about Soviet-style aggression. Whether writers intended that reading deliberately remains debated, but the parallel struck many viewers watching the show through a more politically conscious lens decades after its original 1967 broadcast concluded. 5. Only 32 episodes were ever produced. The entire series ran remarkably briefly overall. Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons aired across a single 32-episode season, broadcasting between September 1967 and May 1968. No additional seasons followed, despite the show's eventual international popularity and lasting cultural influence. That relatively short run stands in contrast to just how much visual and narrative ambition producers packed into each individual 25-minute episode. Everything discussed today traces back to that same compact, single-season production window. 4. Its darker tone directly influenced later puppet sci-fi shows. Legacy extended well beyond Britain's own television landscape. Japanese producer Kimio Ikeda later created X-Bomber, imported to the UK as Starfleet, using puppetry techniques strikingly similar to Super Marionation. That production combined Star Wars space opera sensibility with Anderson's marionette approach, dubbed Super Mario-Rama by its own crew. Captain Scarlet's darker, more mature storytelling approach had clearly resonated internationally, inspiring imitators willing to push children's puppet adventure into more serious, higher-stakes narrative territory decades after the original series concluded. 3. It eventually got a full CGI reboot. Revival came decades later, using entirely new technology. In 2005, Gerry Anderson remade the series as New Captain Scarlet, replacing traditional puppetry with computer-generated animation dubbed hyper-marionation. That update let producers finally achieve the fluid movement original Super Marionation puppets had always struggled with technically. The reboot retained core characters and premise, while modernizing visual execution entirely. Its existence underscores just how enduring the original 1967 concept remained, still considered worth revisiting nearly 4 decades after its initial broadcast run concluded. 2. The nearly motionless puppets still convinced audiences. Limitation somehow became a genuine strength here, despite being deliberately kept almost motionless to hide their control string instability. Captain Scarlet's redesigned puppets achieved remarkably convincing realism on screen. Properly proportioned heads and bodies meant certain shots genuinely resembled live-action footage rather than obvious puppetry. Audiences frequently struggled distinguishing puppet scenes from real actors at first glance, proof that accurate scale mattered more than fluid movement for selling the illusion. That unexpected trade-off shaped the show's distinctive, slightly stiff visual signature. A children's show that killed its hero, reshaped puppet adventure. Few franchises dared take this creative risk. By killing Captain Scarlet in the very first episode and resurrecting him as something no longer fully human, the show abandoned the safer, more caricatured tone of Anderson's earlier work entirely. That darker sensibility, paired with genuinely mature stakes and mass casualty storylines, proved puppet television could tackle serious material. Nearly 6 decades later, Captain Scarlet remains the boldest, strangest entry in Anderson's entire Super Marionation catalog. Killed in Episode 1, rebuilt as something else entirely, Captain Scarlet proved puppets could carry real stakes. Nearly 60 years later, Spectrum's War of Nerves still holds up. If you enjoyed this dive into Super Marionation's darkest chapter, hit subscribe for more forgotten TV history.